Hello, my beloved ones. It's been a while. It's Angelique here, and I wanted to do a vlog to say hi and also to share some wisdom with you as I've been sitting with this for a couple of months in my own life and being with um, in deep practice of like paradigms in my life. So I recently, as in months, um, I'm rebranding my Conscious Women's Leadership e-course, and with it, aligning it with language that feels expansive and feels ready to open up to other possibilities within the course itself. And I want to give a shout out to my business coach, Lena West. If you don't know, you need to know because she is the bomb. She's amazing and was very instrumental, if not beaconing for me some of these expansive pieces that I'm working on. And so, one of the things that brought about like this type of engagement and shift was looking at the paradigms in my own life as a woman in leadership, and that my leadership looks so varied, which is how it needs to be. This whole one niche thing, that's outmoded, outdated, it don't work. For fully embodied expression of a human being and their work in the world, more specifically, right? And so one of the things that I have been in reflection of is my own paradigms for movement, living, and breathing. And it's some of the things I teach in my courses, it's some of the things I teach in my trainings, kind of the structural makeup, not just mine, but like what does your structural foundation look like for your movement and how you show up in the world? And that it would be in alignment with what you want to see the world become and where we're going in terms of justice and equity and fully embodied leadership that is about liberation. In order to create that in the world, we must embody that. And if we don't know that for ourselves, it's hard to create. More often, I see people excited about the talk or the concept or the words, but are not living or in the practice of a liberated life, which makes it hard for you to create anything that would be, right? And so, what this demands of us as leaders, however we're showing up, is to be in reflection of our own structure, the paradigm that we've anchored into because it's comfortable, because it's worked in the past, it's what we know, versus the expansion toward what is unknown. Now, I don't like mystery. I think it really sucks. I think the unknown sucks. Can we just say that out loud? I like to know where I'm going, what I'm doing, how it's happening. I want to make sure. And a lot of that comes from really painful experiences and traumatic experiences that create this need to create a sense of security with movement. And that's a whole nother bone to pick, right? That we can talk about. But what happens when a leader, based on our experiences and based on our life and our trajectory, begin to create paradigms for ourselves that are not expansive? And I noticed that for myself earlier this year, which is how I got into working this part-time job, because my paradigm was actually keeping me from rather than empowering me more into. And that was a hard thing to sit and reflect with, because what it meant was re-examining again the things like how my framework of movement is in alignment with my core values, and how I'm either preventing myself from moving forward or how I am empowering myself to move forward. And that there is going to be a large degree of risk, again, another word that I don't like, in taking a chance with something different, with a different way of movement. And it's been an adventure and continues to be an adventure. And I'm not sure where things will lead. Um, what happens when we step outside of our paradigms is that the discomfort causes us to either become more sure about some things, but also learn to suspend judgment until we're clear about whether something works or not, rather than resist the new because it scares us. So when I'm thinking about leadership and when I'm thinking about communal impact, when I'm thinking about all these things that we talk about and that I talk about in my work, I'm seeing um, a way in which Our paradigms are anchored so that they actually inhibit growth and do not expand. And this is noted by our work and our creations, whether it's growing and expanding or not, because our work grows and expands in proportion to our growth and expansion. That is an absolute for sure thing that I know. When our work grows, it's because we are growing. When our work is limited, stuck, and it's kind of like same over and over, it's because we are not growing and we have anchored our paradigms in a way that's not of service. What does it look like to pivot? What does it look like to shift from whatever the normative paradigm is in our society, but also the one in which you've anchored so tightly that there's no space for anything different? That you can no longer see a complete view of the landscape because your vision is so narrowed based on how you've been kind of cornered into your particular movement, right? So, our paradigms are these ways we see the world and the container that holds our movement. And so, what I'd love to offer up in this vlog is a time of reflection. Is the paradigm that you're using for your movement, does it have space for expansion, space for mystery, space for the unknown, space for different? Or is it stuck in a cycle of repetitive stagnation? Is it stuck in a cycle of rationalizing our actions and our behaviors based on our fears? Where are we as leaders allowing ourselves to grow and expand? And that may mean taking a risk. And that risk can be terrifying. And if our commitment is toward our work, the integrity of our work and its impact, then we must be willing to examine as leaders, as conscious leaders moving in the world, interested in collective healing and justice, we must answer the call to expand outside of our paradigm and to pivot. So, how will you pivot in your leadership in this season? I hope all is well with you. It's been great chatting with you. Shalom. I wish you strength, blessing, courage, and the wisdom to expand in proportion to your core desire to show up in the world. Peace out.